Hey guys, and welcome back to another story from Tales from Tech Support. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, as it really helps me in the channel. Don't forget to drop a comment in the box below with your thoughts on the video. Today I'm bringing you two stories. Story 1, this is a job that never ends. And story 2, how I quit my first job as tech support. Let's get started. This is the job that never ends. Hello everyone, gather around for all I have a story to tell. A story of a job that was scheduled for 6 hours but ended up taking much longer. Relevant characters, me, Acqui, PD, super cool city police officer, PM, project manager, POC, point of contact, basically a walking talking site map and set of keys, sup, my supervisor, retired army with a low tolerance for incompetence and stupidity. As I've mentioned in my previous post, I work for an IT infrastructure company. We install the cables that make the network function. For those familiar with the 7 layers model, our work is affectionately labelled Layer 0. Well, one of the other services we offer is service calls. For a contracted rate, a national management company requests 1 or 2 of our techs to be on the on-site eyes, ears and hands of techs several states away. For this service call, Sup and I were to go and exchange the customer's POS brand switches for Cisco ones, then stay on site while the customer engineer halfway across the country configured the new switches. The ticket said we were allotted 12 man hours to complete this work. We arrived, checked in with the PM and went inside to get work. After waiting for 30 minutes we called the POC to see what was up. Turns out she had a flat tire and was going to be 2 hours late. Okay, we can get paid to twiddle our thumbs for 2 hours. Finally, POC arrived and we got to work. Physically swapping the switches went smoothly. Surprisingly, 11 switches spread across 3 racks in different suites in the building, about 5 hours. The issue started when the time came to configure. We powered up the first stack, connected the dual rotors to the indicated ports and waited. According to the customer engineer, the switches weren't stacking right, or if they did stack, they didn't configure right. Oh boy. What happened next was 3 hours of hard rebooting the switches. If the customer engineer changed anything between robots, we never noticed. The engineer got on Zoom call with one of his colleagues and finally sorted out the issues with the first stack, 4 switches, at 6 PM. We had been on site for 11 hours at this point. During this process, Sup advised me to make a nice comfy pile of boxes and take a nap, as we'll be here for a while. The next stack, 3 switches, was also choosing to be a problem child, and 2 Cisco engineers were roped into the Zoom call, as well as another customer engineer. Some firmware conflict between the config and the switches was preventing any of the switches with fiber ports from grabbing the master role. At this point, someone on the call had a thought. Wait, what's the local time? How long have the techs been on site? Crickets. Sup. It's currently about 2100 hours local time and we've been on site for 14 hours. Okay, let's troubleshoot the web GUI configuration later. For now, we need to get this done so the network is operational tomorrow. Has anyone started stacking Closet 3 yet? Sup. I can send my junior tech to Closet 3 to work on that one while we manually configure these switches. Sounds good? Everyone agreed to this course of action and I went down 1 floor and awaited a call from the customer engineer to power on the stack. Cardinal rule of service calls, you do not plug in or unplug anything, even power, without explicit instruction to do so. At around midnight I get the call to power on the last stack. To everyone's amazement and relief, it stacks and configured correctly by itself, so I just need to patch in all of the existing ports myself. As I finish with that, I get a text from Sup. The 3 stack is working. He'll meet me in the main closet to collect our tools and leave. Yay! I close the closet and open the door to leave the site. Beep, 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 beep. Yep, the alarm auto-armed at midnight and both POC and building security have gone home for the night. Lacking a code and not wanting to smash the keypad, I leave it and meet up with Sup. He agrees there's nothing we can do about the alarm, so we should just pack up and leave. We walk out of the building at 2:30 in the morning, looking forward to 4 hours of sleep before we have to come back and get some final paperwork. Just then, a black van with blue flashes pulls up to us. PD. We received an automated call from this address. Is everything alright? Quietest groan ever. Me. Yeah, that was me. We got locked in and I tripped the alarm as I left. PD. Okay, can I see your license so I can record that I made contact on my paperwork? Me silently pulls out wallet and fishes out my DL. 60 seconds of waiting for PD to radio my DL number to dispatch. PD, here you go sir, thank you and have a good night. Fast forward to 7 AM. We come back and once again POC is late. Sup calls the PM with an update. Sup, yeah, we're back on site to get our completion signature and box up the old switches, but POC is late again. PM, what are you still doing there? We'll fax them for signatures and the local IT had better be capable of putting 11 switches in 11 boxes and slapping a shipping label on them. Go home, get some sleep, and I want an email explaining your story on how a 12 man-hour job ended up costing us 39 man-hours. Bye. I don't know the full fallout of that day, but this exact operation was put on indefinite hold in all of the customers' locations while a post-mortem was done on our job. That hold is still in place at time of writing, almost 3 weeks later. TLDR, misconfigured configuration creates frustration, delayed liberation and deflation of customer relations. Story 2, how I quit my first job as tech support. I quit a gig as tech support after a particular customer where I was called on a Saturday morning because the laptop was completely dead. Laptop was stationary and I knew the customer was well known for being unreasonably rude as well as willfully ignorant with tech. Managed to destroy 2 keyboards within months by typing. I was woken up by the call and while still trying to figure out where, who and how, I was trying to guide the customer through basic troubleshooting. Is there any sign of red light being on? Fan spinning? HDD spinning? Press power button for 5 seconds? Is the power brick plugged in? Does the power brick feel warm? Are all cable connections solid and plugged in? All of the questions were answered in a negative and increasingly rude and aggressive manner. Finally decided to drive there. My hourly rate was $10 back then. Don't ask, I was young, desperate and thought the guy I worked for would actually teach me some valuable skills in the process. The other catch? I was only being paid for time spent with the customer or on their machines, not for travelling. 1.5 hours later, I arrived with a full set of tools, equipment, spare power brick and even a replacement laptop in case the old one committed Sudoku. Customer was pissed that I took this long. Again, I want to reiterate that it was Saturday, now 9 AM. After going over the routine checks myself, the customer got even more mad, claiming, I already checked that. You told me on the phone. Do something. It's all your fault, etc. I tried to ignore her. Yes, it's exactly what you think. The woman was the typical stereotype of self-important Karen. After 5 minutes, I checked the laptop and could not find any signs of life whatsoever, so I checked the power brick. Surprisingly, it was plugged in and warm. Then it hit me as I checked the other side where the cable leading to the laptop was plugged in. Naturally, it wasn't. Cable management was non-existent under her desk and between 3 PCs and about a quarter ton of paperwork on, and under the desk with equal amount of dust, she or one of her numerous cats and little kids that had access to the office must have accidentally unplugged it. Plugged it back in, laptop works again, 10 minutes of work that could have been avoided if the customer actually did what I asked and actually answered my questions truthfully instead of ignoring them and simply saying no every time. In the end, I received a whopping $10, spent 3.5 hours of driving, $20 in gas, and the better part of a Saturday on a loose cable. Needless to say, I don't work for this particular company anymore. I did, however, take over several of his clients that were friendly and respectful and needed continued support. It turned out after he hired me, he fired every other tech he had in the area and was now unable to provide service to anyone in half the state. This particular story was just the last straw in a long line of particularly frustrating assignments, including things like being forced to drive 2 hours to a customer to install a new wireless keyboard, driving 3 hours to a customer to install an Apple docking station on a Windows laptop, and fix a broken mouse at the aforementioned lady's office, aka insert the batteries in the right direction, all the while being only paid for the actual labour, not the time spent on the road. In the end, I did learn valuable lessons, but not from my employer. Guys, if you really enjoyed the stories today, don't forget to drop us a sub, as it really helps this channel, and I look forward to giving you some more stories next time. Bye now.